Hi everyone, I want to address a few comments that I see from time to time, and they are small, but I think it's best to address cancer early before it spreads. And in life, most problems ignored don't magically go away. They just get transferred to someone else. Women's professional track and field is absolutely killing it this year. But right now, there is also this type of cancer that comes in to affect any ecosystem. And it has to be addressed directly, else that cancer can kill anything once it spreads to a certain point, especially in this woke environment that we are in. And we saw cancer, for example, during the doping era of track and field in terms of drugs, if you were around back then. And I covered that in an earlier video. After that era, the enthusiasm waned for many years. Some could argue it was the doping era and or due to lack of marketing, but I'd even step out and call the lack of marketing to be its own type of cancer. Imagine a couple getting hit with ovarian and prostate at the same time. That's what track and field went through, putting it in a very special category, in my opinion. YouTube channel After News Delight came out with a video headlined "Bigots Defend Bigotry. Abby Steiner hater claims she doesn't get hate for being white." I'll leave the video in the description for you guys to check out. I agree with his assessments, and I have brought this issue up in the past where you see some smart ass comments saying that the only reason why Abby Steiner is getting the attention is that she is white. Now, do I feel that this is absolutely true? My response is no, because she is also fast and a whole bunch of other things. Let me say that again. She happens to be white and fast. She is not slow, else we would not be having this conversation. The second point I have addressed in the past is relatability. There's nothing wrong with having a preference, and trying to point these out to people sounds silly. For example, I don't tell my 10-year-old nephew, hey, the only reason why you like the NBA is that those players are black. I assume an inherent biological wiring in everyone tends to gravitate towards what we are familiar and used to. You can try to teach it away, taunt it out of people, but it is not going to go away no matter how hard you try. You can also look at dating as an example. We create so many unnecessary distractions into making something out of nothing. And maybe my nephew just so happens to like basketball because he was introduced to it anyway. I don't care what his reason is, but he likes it regardless. But it would also be inappropriate to paint that type of assumption onto my nephew or any type of assumption to an entire race of people. So going back to Abby Steiner, there are other characteristics other than being white and fast that people might be gravitating to as well, to name a few. She is very likable on camera and very articulate. She is extremely intelligent, graduating with a 3.8 GPA while running track and playing D1 soccer at the same time. Yes, D1 soccer, not club soccer. She played D1 soccer as a freshman in more than 18 games. She is also from the University of Kentucky, yes, Big Blue. That campus has a supportive number of people with an average student body of 30,000 kids, which is a lot. Not to mention all the alumni. On top of that, she is from Ohio and made the track and field scene as early in her freshman year, breaking state records, as we will see in this short 2-minute clip by your local Channel 4 NBC news station. Let me play that clip right now.
Student at Dublin Kaufman who was fighting leukemia. She emerged healthy, in part thanks to tremendous family support. Her younger sister, Abby, followed Riley's athletic footsteps at Kaufman, but now she's planning to run places no Ohio female sprinter's ever gone. Audrey Hassan explains.
Right, runners to your marks.
Abby Steiner loves the anticipation, the nervous anxiety as she steps into the blocks to start a race.
I love it, but I hate it at the same time. A lot of times in the blocks, I have to talk to myself when I'm in that set position raised. I have to tell myself, like, just wait for the gun, wait for the gun.
Bang!
A year ago, she won the state championship in the 200 meters as a freshman.
Knowing that I have that title, and if I ever feel like nervous before a race, I can use that for confidence.
But Abby aims for much more.
I think what motivates me most is the goals that I set for myself.
And she's written those goals down on paper and keeps them close.
So I'll go back to them and look at them. If I ever don't want to go to practice, I'll be like, oh, but I'm working towards this, and I have this end goal in sight.
She already broke the indoor state records, and now she aims to beat the outdoor state record in the 100 and 200 meters.
Oh my God, like how fast was that? Sometimes with Abby, you'll just see, it's like, oh my God, she just won a 200 meters by 20 meters. You just got to stop and appreciate it.
I mean, it still hasn't really set in that I have those records. Like, it won't set in for a while.
Audrey Hassan, NBC4 Sports.
You have regional meets coming up this week. The state meet is next week. She's got to run about mid-23s in the 200, about 11:59 in the 100 meters to break the existing state record. She can do both. She, in fact, broke both in a dual meet earlier this year.
We might see her at the Olympics someday.
Telling you, the potential's there. She's an outstanding performer for such an early age. Again, just a sophomore.
Wow. Yeah, it's great.
We'll take another look at the forecast, but first, here's Jimmy Fallon with a look at what's next on The Tonight Show.
Wow, look at that. While Abby Steiner was breaking records her freshman year in 2016, guess what? I was still trying to figure out my life back then. Maybe I should start writing things down too, like she did to get further in life. Haters, are you taking notes here? Her high school best was 11.38 seconds in the 100 meters. In the 200 meters, her best time was 22.73, which I can tell you could easily medal at least third place in local high school boys tournaments. Yes, she is faster than dudes. And those high school times currently could be on par to college athletes in the women's side and place her in the top 20 in Olympic meets. The conversation here could have been to go pro early, but I will save that for another video. There were many excellent runners that came out of women's high school track around this time. One was Candace Hill, who ran the fastest time in the 100 meters her freshman year at an amazing 10.98 seconds. But track and field is not easy on the body, so to make it 8 years out, and most importantly, maintain a high level of interest is an achievement of its own. But let me move on because I have much to talk about. So you already have 2 states rooting over her. On top of that, she is loved by many Jamaicans as well and the international community, as you can see from this video I made by reading the comment section. And yes, I scanned through every single one. That video is almost about to break 100,000 views. Now, do I need to say anything else about her? Does she also need to break the sound barrier for those 5 people out there to call her legit? So when someone comes out and tells me because she's white, well, hey there. Here are other things you probably didn't know about Abby Steiner as to why she has built up the crowd and equity around her for about a decade. This lady didn't come out of nowhere. You, on the other hand, just came out. In summary, that's 2 states already and a whole entire country that creates the fastest runners in the world, but most importantly, they win races. But enough about addressing those 5 people. What makes a sport interesting is when you have different people coming into it, which you normally did not expect, and who are able to compete at a high level. That brings in the money, attention, and hype going back into the sport. I have talked about people like Tiger Woods and Serena Williams as examples in the past, but you also had players like Jeremy Lin and his stints in the NBA. The amount of excitement from the Asian community during the Linsanity era, especially for the Chinese community, appeared to reach a level as high as Yao Ming. I get fascinated by these type of anomalies or outliers compared to what I see normally because they now attract a new audience into the ecosystem. And I think most people who have an appreciation for any sport because they have participated or experienced it, like basketball, football, or track and field, already understand the degree of commitment that it takes to succeed to that level, where they are not tripping over how someone looks. So the person who makes these smart comments, sometimes I wonder if they have ever ran track before. Can they run 400 meters at 70% without complaining? And I am only asking once, not 8 times like these athletes already do it in practice. Okay, well, how about this? Try taking this ball off the ground. Hit it 75 yards with these golf clubs. And then let's talk. And my point for bringing this up is that cancer like this can kill anything. So I am glad folks are addressing it early. And at the same time, I believe it is okay for people to like whoever they want to like, especially in a generation where options are so few. I personally don't care. I myself don't want to be forced to like XYZ person or XYZ sport because someone is telling me to do so. And if someone forces me to like something or someone, I actually tend to hate that subject matter even more. There's always going to be a natural inclination to gravitate towards things in life. And changing the biological social order of these things might end up doing more harm than good down the road. And maybe that's one of the problems with certain women's sports programs, because it seems like it's being forced instead of being organic. But I may save that for a different video on a separate channel. Now, can we appreciate differences like I believe most people are doing right now? Yes, absolutely. But that is sometimes determined by the time someone is able to step outside of their comfort zone. And I think places like the military or Peace Corps are things where we do not worry about tribal differences over time because you have to work together. There is one unit, one team, and the objective is to win or complete a mission. To cut this conversation short, in general, most people, whether they are black or white, love Abby Steiner. It's always that minority of people with the loudest mouths. So when I hear someone echoing one characteristic, I provide them with about 9 more to help them gain more perspective, knowledge, and understanding about that person so they can make better informed excuses than hearing it's because that young lady is white. A good informed excuse would be, wow, after hearing all of that, Abby Steiner worked really hard to hold top NCAA awards, breaking state records since high school, and winning world championships recently. That would be a great takeaway from listening to all of this from those 5 people. And this is the last time I will ever have this type of silly conversation pertaining to Abby Steiner on this particular issue. So for any naysayers now and in the future, they can reference this video. We have to really grow up as a society. But again, I want to put it into context. Most people, after reading through thousands of comments, are rational. But the loudest voices are those few people, and they show up in the matrix from time to time for whatever reason. You're always gonna have people like that. They impact policy and politics over most rational people in the world. Go figure. I don't know why that happens. Anyway, that is all I have for this rant. You guys have an excellent day. Hey you, feel free to watch any one of these playlists. Have a great day.